Hello, friends. When people hear about missionary life, they often imagine something very beautiful and peaceful. They picture quiet villages, people praying together, and a priest celebrating Mass in a small chapel surrounded by nature. And yes, missionary life can indeed be beautiful, but there are also many realities of mission that people rarely talk about. There are experiences, challenges, surprises, and lessons that you only discover when you actually begin to live in the mission. Today, I want to share with you something very personal. I want to talk about what nobody tells you about missionary life in the Amazon. These are things I discovered only after I arrived here and began to live among the communities of this vast and fascinating region. Some of these experiences were surprising, some were difficult, and some were deeply beautiful. But all of them have taught me something important about faith, about people, and about life. One of the first things that surprised me when I arrived in the Amazon was the sheer size of this region. When you see the Amazon on a map, you know it is big, but maps do not fully prepare you for the reality. Here, distances are immense. Sometimes you travel for hours by boat, and the landscape still looks the same: river, forest, sky. In many places, there are no roads connecting communities. The river is the road, boats are the buses, and travel depends not only on distance but also on the current of the river, the weather, and sometimes even the time of day. There are moments when you realize how small you are compared to the immensity of nature. But there's also something deeply humbling about that experience. The Amazon reminds you that the world is much bigger than our plans and schedules. And that realization can actually bring a sense of peace. Another reality that many people do not imagine is how long some communities wait for the sacrament. In many parts of the world, people can attend Mass every Sunday without difficulty. But in some Amazon communities, the priest may only be able to visit a few times or once in a year. Think about that. Months may pass before a community celebrates the Eucharist again. And yet, when priest finally arrives, the people gather with immense joy. They prepare the church, they organize the liturgy, they bring the families, and the celebration becomes something very special. That patience and devotion reminds us that the Eucharist is truly a gift, something precious, not something we should take for granted. One of the most beautiful discoveries in the Amazon is the strength of the communities. Many communities are small, some are located in very remote areas. Life is not always easy. There may be limited access to certain services or resources, but the people support each other. Neighbors help neighbors, families work together, and the church often becomes the heart of the community. The church building is not just a place for worship, it is also a place where people gather, share their joys and struggles, and strengthen their faith together. Seeing this kind of community life is deeply inspiring. It reminds us that faith is not something lived alone. Faith grows in relationships. Before arriving in the Amazon, I had certain ideas about life, about ministry, and about what mission would be like. But slowly, living here begins to change you. The rhythm of life is different. The priorities become clearer. You begin to appreciate simple things more deeply. The beauty of the river at sunrise, the sound of the forest, the warmth of people who welcome you into their homes. Mission is not only about what the missionary gives, it is also about what the missionary receives. The people teach you patience, they teach you gratitude, they teach you resilience, and often they teach you what it means to trust God in everyday life. Perhaps the most moving discovery in the Amazon is the depth of faith among the people. Faith here is not always expressed through elaborate buildings or large institutions. Often it is simple, but it is sincere. People pray with conviction. They sing with their heart. They bring their joys and their struggles before God. And sometimes their faith shines most clearly in moments of difficulty. When you witness that kind of faith, it strengthens your own. It reminds you that the gospel continues to live and grow in places that many people never see. So, when people ask me what missionary life in the Amazon is like, I usually say this: it is challenging, it is unpredictable, sometimes it is tiring, but it is also deeply beautiful because in the middle of the forest, along the rivers, and in communities far from the world's attention, the gospel continues to take root. Faith continues to grow. And God continues to work quietly in people's lives. The Amazon teaches you something very important. Mission is not only about going somewhere. Mission is about opening your heart to the people you encounter and discovering God's presence in unexpected places. Thank you for watching. If you would like to hear more stories about missionary life in the Amazon and reflections about faith, you're welcome to subscribe to the channel. God bless you.